So today I will be doing a post about encouraging resiliency in our kids. And a lot of times we think, well, our kids either going to be that way or not to be that way. But it really does have a lot to do with the way that we parent them and the way that they feel loved and encouraged. So it actually, after you hear the list, it sounds simple. It's not necessarily easy to do, especially when a lot of times we ourselves haven't had good parenting examples, or we don't have good self-confidence. And so we are at the same time as our kids needing to learn those things. And so we're basically teaching while we're learning, and that's actually a really good place to be, because it's a place of self-acceptance and self-forgiveness, and also of being willing to let yourself change for the sake of becoming a better parent and encouraging your kids to become awesome people. So this list is rather short, but it is, like I said, it's a little complicated when you really think about how much work it is to accomplish this every single day. So the first thing is that our kids need to feel loved and accepted by their parents, and whether that's a single parent or a two-family household or a non-traditional family, we need to encourage them and love on them at all times. And then we also need to have other people in their lives besides their parents who are also helping, who are the other people who care for them and love them, who are also showing that they love them. That can include your parents, other extended relatives, friends of the family who become more like family members, and it needs to even include people who are encouraging them and helping them to learn. That's in more of the school type system, or a learning environment, such as their coaches, their teachers, their like Sunday school teachers, like ministers or youth ministers, even people like Big Brother or Big Sister, mentors who can help to show them that they're there to help them, and that no matter if they're struggling, they're going to still be a good, positive support system for them. I'm being blinded by the light here, so I'm really sorry. My notes are like almost invisible to me. So let me see if I can get my eyes focused. The other thing that's really important is that when our kids are feeling upset, sad, or worried, we need to acknowledge that those feelings are valid, and at the same time try to help them to figure out a way to feel better about that circumstance. And that has a lot to do with e-parenting that I have been teaching about or talking about. And I have a whole video on e-parenting. So if you're curious about that, you can go to my page and look for that. It's important that our kids feel liked by their parents, their friends, and their neighbors. So if we're constantly picking at our kids, if we're constantly getting after them and not giving them praise and not celebrating their successes with them, that's going to end up making our kids feel like we don't like them. Another thing that might cause this is if we're constantly trying to force them to fit into a different personality type that might be more of like what we want, or might be more socially acceptable. And we need to learn to accept our kids the way that they are and help to raise them to be the best versions of themselves inside of their own personalities, and allow them to discover themselves without having to constantly be trying to fix themselves to match a certain stereotype that we might place upon them. And that can also be helping our kids to learn better social dynamics so that they will be likable. They will be maybe less confrontational, less aggressive, whatever it means for them to be able to relate to other people of their peer group and to have successful relationships that aren't not deconstructive, destructive. And then also, we also need to help encourage them while they're in school, especially if they're going through hardships and they have maybe a learning disability, or they might be getting bullied. They might just feel like they don't fit in. We need to find ways to help them to start to learn better, so that they can feel competent and capable, and that they don't have to match again a stereotype of learning that might not suit what their learning type is. And then things like being optimistic about your family's future, trying to stay in the positive even when things are hardship. That's emulating for our kids what we want them to be able to do to be resilient when hard times come. Another thing is, when our kids are getting older, it's good to help them to feel independent, to give them different tasks, or to allow them new freedoms that they haven't had to before, to allow them to feel capable in those tasks, or to have a little bit more independence, so that they can have experiences of doing things while we're still protecting them within bounds, so that they can have that important feeling of accomplishment, and allowing them that to happen without letting them to fall without any support in case they were to fail. And to help them to understand that everybody fails, everybody makes mistakes, and to try to reframe that learning experience out of the negative and back into the positive, that next time I'm gonna know what not to do, and even if I do it again the next time, I'm just learning every time how to get better at this skill, or this task, or this goal that I've set for myself. Another thing is to try to give our kids opportunities to see their dreams come true. This is a huge one, because a lot of times we're just so stuck into all our kids should be doing is schoolwork or the extracurriculars that we see that we want them to do. And it's really good to try to get our kids to explain to us what are their dreams, and then try to help be support people for them to help them to accomplish those dreams. Because in our world, it's very hard to get your dreams accomplished. And there's not many people that are going to pour into our kids more than we are. And if we can be there in the early stages of development and in the early stages of their learning how to achieve what their goals are, we're going to get them onto a closer route of self-actualization and becoming the awesome individual that they're destined to be, or to help hone their particular gifts and their talents that are unique to them. And the last thing is just to, even though it's scary, to let them, as they get older, to give them more and more chances to become independent, and to take risks in a go-getter type way, so that by the time they're leaving the nest or whatever, that they're going to be able to accomplish things in a successful way, and not to have so many disappointments. They'll be used to the hard work that it takes to be successful and to be resilient against challenges, and encouraging them to try things and to fail and to take steps of independence out is the way to help them to learn that on their own. So these have been some tips about how to encourage our kids to be resilient and to instill that resiliency earlier on. And then for the rest of the week, I will be talking about other ways that you can start encouraging resiliency as as they grow and develop through helping them to have positive emotional and social development, positive cognitive and learning development, and positive physical development. So I look forward to sharing those things with you, and I also look forward to hearing from any of you. If any of you are interested in working with me on my team, I would really be interested in telling you about my business. And if you also are having any sort of health issue, I have a natural supplement that can boost your immunity to 437%, and it really makes you feel a lot better. I can testify to that. So lots of blessings for all of you. I pray that you all are being awesome game changers in your daily walks, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Nos vemos.